In today's video, I'm going to be going over why I switched to keyboard and mouse. I'll be talking to you guys about my origin story, and trust me, there's so much to talk about since I've been on keyboard and mouse for 11 months. I'm also going to be telling you guys about how my mindset was so you can possibly get some inspiration for your own keyboard and mouse progressions. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. In order to start this story off, we need to go all the way back in time to the exact date of February 20th, 2018 when I got my own personal Xbox as a birthday present. This meant that I didn't have to share one with my brother anymore, so I could play Fortnite for a lot longer. To be quite honest, I was pretty trash on controller, so I did what any other kid would do at the time and I started playing Fortnite like crazy. I would grind solos to try and get as many wins as I possibly could. Back in the day, getting wins was the only thing that really meant you were good. All of the OG's players know that, so shout out to y'all. After doing that for a while, Fortnite started making competitive more accessible to everyone. So I think during season 7 they released Arena, and as you would expect, I immediately switched over to that and I would grind it all the time. The reason this is important to this story is that when Arena first came out, it was super stacked since everyone was just playing placement. And as you guys know, having a stacked lobby on console was terrible. You would always get frame drops and it was like you were playing on a toaster. It was simply unplayable and you could do absolutely nothing about it. Also, at that time, there were no new-gen consoles that you could buy for $400 or so that would get you more FPS. All of the consoles were simply capped at 60 FPS. This meant that you would have to drop like $1,000 on a brand new PC, but like many other people, I just didn't have 1K laying around. So obviously, I couldn't just switch to PC. I knew I really wanted a PC, so at that moment, I just started saving up everything for a PC. A few seasons passed and World Cup was announced, so I was super excited about it. However, as soon as I got into those World Cup endgames, the excitement just disappeared because as many of you console players know, those endgames were literally impossible to play in. I think I remember during Moving Zone, I wasn't even getting 30 FPS, and not to mention at that time, Fortnite servers were super bad. So that also encouraged me. If I wanted to play comp, I really needed a PC, so I even started saving up even more. When I was playing World Cup and any other competitive game modes, it was pretty obvious that I could not reach the skill of other keyboard and mouse players. They were just miles ahead of my controller's skill and would destroy me every time. Keyboard and mouse was just a dominant input, especially when it came to tournaments. I mean, just looking at the analytics, only like 6 controller players made it to the World Cup, so over 90% of them were keyboard and mouse. I just wanted to give keyboard and mouse a try, and a lot of people were switching to it, including my friends. So I went ahead and bought a new keyboard and mouse. To be honest, I don't even know what I was doing. I spent $150 on an Alienware mouse and keyboard. This was a terrible decision because it was so expensive and I could have easily gotten a better keyboard and mouse. Also, you should not be spending that much money on a KBM if you're not sure if you're gonna go all in on it. Not to mention that Alienware keyboard and mice are definitely not too good for Fortnite. Apart from all the cons, I at least had a decent keyboard and mouse, so I plugged it in and played with it against my friend, but I was so bad, I immediately gave up and went back to controller. I really regret this and wish I just stuck to keyboard and mouse. This is why I advise you guys to switch as fast as possible to keyboard and mouse. Don't keep saying I'm gonna try it later, because to be honest, you know you're not gonna try it for a very long time. Trust me, in the long run, it will be well worth it to switch. Anyways, back to the story. Chapter 2 got released and I was still on console and playing on controller. Winter Royale got announced and it was my best performance ever. It was the closest I have ever been to getting some earnings, but unfortunately, my Xbox literally crashed 3 out of 10 games. After that happened, it was basically the nail in the coffin for me. So I think 1 week later, I bought a 240Hz monitor from Black Friday. I had everything I needed for the PC and it took me another 4 months before I was finally able to buy a decent PC. I remember the exact date. It was the 31st of March in 2020. I cannot explain how perfect the timing was. I literally just got a PC when the whole virus started. Obviously, this means that I was able to play a lot more. As soon as I plugged in my PC and actually played on 240 FPS, it just felt amazing. All of my input delay and frame drops from console were now in the past. Literally, all the conditions were perfect for me to switch to keyboard and mouse, however, I still stuck to controller. The main reason I still stayed on controller at that time was because it was Chapter 2 Season 2, which was literally the golden age for controller aim assist. You had the most broken aim assist that has ever been in the game on controller, and you had weapons like the Midas minigun. Unknown Army was a controller demon and was taking over the scene, which is another factor for why I still stuck to controller. Anyways, I continued to grind tournaments and I was able to get 315th in a hype cup. I know this is probably not a good placement for some of you guys, but at the time I was super proud of the placement. 1 month went by and I still had no earnings in Fortnite, and I also felt so capped on controller. I felt like I reached my peak and I couldn't get better no matter what I did. Keep in mind that I actually didn't play claw or I didn't use paddles. That was definitely one of the reasons as to why I felt so capped. So I was super bored of Fortnite when a brand new game called Valorant came out. It was blowing up with over 1.5 million average viewers when I came to try it out. To be honest, I absolutely fell in love with the game at the beginning. However, after playing it for over 6 months, I actually got pretty bored with it. My friends were still in Fortnite and I kinda missed the game a little bit. So I tried out Fortnite again, not knowing how much it would actually change my life. When I came back to it, I was literally straight trash since I was super washed on controller. I was nowhere near as good as I used to be. That was the exact moment it hit me. Why do don't I try keyboard and mouse on Fortnite since I've always wanted to do it? There was absolutely nothing holding me back since I lost all my skill on controller. This definitely worked in my favor because a lot of new keyboard and mouse players are always tempted to just give up and go back to controller. If you truly want to become good on keyboard and mouse, you just have to go all in. Switching back and forth between controller and keyboard and mouse will not help you at all. This will just mess up all of your muscle memory, making it even harder to learn keyboard and mouse. When I completely switched to keyboard and mouse, I actually surprisingly progressed at a rapid pace. I spent so much time in creative grinding my mechanics and everything. I was also super motivated to grind. Your mindset will affect so much of your success. Having a motivated and positive mindset can go such a long way, even in real life. One thing that I noticed was that everyone progresses at different rates, so please don't compare yourself to other people. This will destroy your mindset and your motivation to grind. Just focus on improving yourself. Trust me, keyboard and mouse is definitely very difficult to get used to, but if you put in the work, you can definitely get good at it. Just remember, it is not necessarily about the time you spend on keyboard and mouse, but the quality of your practice. Playing 1 hour of creative is a lot more beneficial than just playing PUBG for 5 hours. The first week of your switch will definitely be the most challenging, but that's also where you're going to progress the most. This is why choosing the right keybinds is super important. Luckily for me, I've never changed my keybinds because of how comfortable and optimal they are. Watch till the end of the video if you guys want to know what my keybinds are. Anyways, after successfully completing my 1 week progression, I posted it on YouTube, not expecting it to get an insane amount of views or anything. However, it immediately started to get some views. It was actually popping off, so I posted my 2 week progression and so on. My early fanbase seemed to have really enjoyed the videos and I gained my first 1,000 subs. This motivated me so much, not only with YouTube, but also to continue my keyboard and mouse progression. I thank all 67,000 of you guys, and I cannot wait to look back at this video in the future when I hopefully reach 100,000 subs. If you guys want to help me reach that goal, make sure to drop a quick sub. We're already 2/3 of the way there. Now I'm going to be telling you guys some of the more concrete reasons for why I ultimately decided to switch to keyboard and mouse. The first and main reason was the fact that it gave a new and exciting challenge for me on Fortnite. I cannot describe just how much fun I had playing on keyboard and mouse. During the first week of keyboard and mouse, I was literally playing like 8 hours a day or some crazy number like that. It felt like I was playing a new version of Fortnite or something, and all this motivation just went through the roof. It really did push me to grind. Some advice I could give you guys is to simply have fun with keyboard and mouse. Don't get frustrated with it. There's literally no reason to. You're obviously not going to be the best when you first switch. That's literally how every single good keyboard and mouse player had to start. Just know that not everything comes overnight, and it will take time for you to get good on keyboard and mouse. This is a huge problem for new keyboard and mouse players. They're not patient enough and end up getting demotivated, which causes them to quit. Another huge reason for why I switched was because I simply felt like I reached my peak with controller. I know this is also a case for a lot of you guys. To be straight up with you guys, if you're not playing claw or paddles on controller, I feel like there's literally no excuse for staying on controller. Even if you're on console, I would still play on keyboard and mouse. The skill level you can achieve on keyboard and mouse is basically unlimited. You have complete freedom. Not to mention all the benefits you get from playing keyboard and mouse in other games too. If you ever quit Fortnite, in the long run this will also help you because many other games it's extremely useful. Most pros in many games are keyboard and mouse, so it simply goes to show that keyboard and mouse is just literally the overall best input. Some very common questions I always get asked is if I think it's worth it to switch this late into Fortnite or if it's worth it to switch to keyboard and mouse on console. My answer to both of those questions is obviously yes. It is never too late to switch, and so many people are switching at this exact moment. Just know that the longer you wait, the more you will regret it in the future. The same goes for players on console. OG console is definitely a challenge, but it is so much better to start as soon as possible on console and then save money in the future if you're going to upgrade your system. Before you click off, if I've provided any kind of valuable tips or motivation, just please make sure to drop at least a like on the video. I'm not going to beg you guys to subscribe, so if you don't want to subscribe, it's completely fine, but I assure you guys, I'm going to have a lot of content coming that will help you out a lot, especially if you're a keyboard and mouse beginner. For example, I'm going to be making videos about the best maps or keybinds for beginners on keyboard and mouse. Speaking about keybinds, make sure to click on the video up on the screen right now. I go over absolutely all of my keybinds. Anyways, my name has been Vermax. Stay safe and take care.